All right, welcome everyone to Ask an Event Pro. My name is Francisco. I'm product evangelist at Events.com, and joining us today are Robyn and Dwayne, owners of Corkscrew Racing. How are you guys?
Great.
Hey there.
We're just going to have them for a few minutes with us, ask them some questions, and learn a little bit more about their business and their involvement with the endurance industry. And so we'll get right started with the first question. So Robyn, Dwayne, what's the best tip that you can give someone that's looking to put on an event series for the first time?
I think now with the amount of races that are sort of crowding the field, you really have to be unique. You can pick a 5K just about everywhere, every weekend, and so that's something we've strived to do, is to separate ourselves from just the standard 5K.
Absolutely, absolutely. It certainly helps to be very unique when it comes to the themes that you put on your races, and you certainly found a very unique approach. People seem to love it. But I am curious, how did you get started in endurance? Why endurance?
Well, I started as a plan to run a marathon before I turned 40, and ended up running several marathons and a couple trail runs, and sort of evolved. I have a full-time job as a Parks and Rec director, so we put on a lot of events for the city, and so it was a sort of a natural fit of I've yet to find a depressed runner, so we like the energy vibe that comes with races, and so it was a natural fit, and we live in a beautiful part of the country in Virginia, and it just is sort of naturally fit together. And Robyn was an event director with Outer Banks Sporting Events and ran events together, so we make a good team.
Awesome. So tons of experience as race goers and participants and also organizers. But I do have to ask you, as an organizer, what are 3 common mistakes that could happen on race day that people should be aware of?
I think some of the ones that we've struggled with is trying to get accurate numbers. You know, we do race day registrations. Everybody wants their T-shirt. Everybody wants their wine glass. And so sometimes it's difficult to predict those numbers. I think one of our other fears is we have too many runners show up and you don't have enough material, whether that be race cups or water, and depending on some of our races are kind of spread out, so you have water stops in different places, so you're always worrying that there's not enough water there. And then something we run into occasionally, if it's good weather or just simple registration forms, some of the places we have our wineries, you just can't there's not a Kinko's next door to a winery, so you can't say, oh, I need to make 20 copies. And so we've had to be creative with some of the ways we take registrations at the last minute.
It's only happened once.
It's only happened
but
once.
It won't happen again. And we did have a copier, but actually twice. So yeah, you don't want to run out of registration.
I bet. I'm glad you were able to figure that one out. I know we did talk about needing a unique approach or a unique theme for an event to create a difference, right? Why Corkscrew Racing? How did you come up with that concept?
Well, I had a very active running group of mine that we ran together 4 days a week at a local gym, and on Fridays we would run a 7-mile loop, and it just so happened it passed a winery. Of course, we were running in the dark, and so we commented, maybe we'll go back and see this during the day. We would usually run in the morning. So we came back at night, saw the views, and just thought, everybody races on Saturday morning or Sunday morning. And when I came out to the winery and saw the sunset in the evening and thought, you know what, there's a different way to spin this. And so we started the concept to have Friday night races, and of course, we have wineries and breweries and cideries in the Shenandoah Valley, Virginia, and they're almost all idyllic setting with mountain views and vineyards in the foreground, and so that's really where it sort of evolved with one race to now that we have 10 races a year, and it really was that idea of sort of turning it on its end and saying, well, let's run on a Friday night, let's run at sunset, let's run after folks get off of work, let's offer them a tasting glass, that we have a custom tasting glass that each runner gets.
Instead of a medal.
Instead of a medal.
Oh, wow.
We offer band, so we have music, and we use local food trucks. So they really get a whole experience. It's much more than just a 5K. It's a whole experience for the evening, and we've fun. the focus on fun. We do time our events, but we really focus on the fun aspect and sort of the after party, as we say.
Well, I have to say it's a fantastic idea. I haven't had the pleasure to run one of your events yet, but I'm looking forward to soon. I'm not the biggest wine drinker, but I'm sure I can make an exception this time and have a blast with it.
We have our first brewery this year. We have a great Blue Mountain Brewery that's in Nelson County, which is our neighboring county to us, and we'll have our first brewery run in the fall. And we've also apple cider, hard cider in this area is picked up. We're in the mountains of Virginia, and it's a great place to grow apples, and so it's a natural fit. So we really got a little bit of everything, and we also have a distillery, so we may add that into the mix. So we have covered all of the libations that are available to anyone to partake in. So we haven't quite figured out the distillery shot post-race, but cider seems to be very popular with our runners.
So I have to imagine that sometimes some of these events happen in wineries a little bit off, this far away, if you will, remote places. I'm wondering if there are any essentials that you always have on your bag that you can share with us. Maybe 5 essentials that you always bring with you.
Cell phone for one, definitely. I always have a notebook to jot down things. We always have important phone numbers, whether it's especially emergency contact information for our runners if something were to happen. In my last, 3, I have to have water, gum, and lipstick. So that's essential.
I do course logistics and layout, so I never leave the truck without duct tape. So I can make just.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's always in the truck to figure out whether it's taping together a flag. So.
I have one more thing, an extra set of keys. I did have one time where packet pickup was in the back of my Trailblazer, and I locked my keys in the car. So yeah, having backup keys is good.
All very good ideas. Thank you. I'm sure a lot of people don't think of those. We're sort of taking advantage of your experiences now. We know.
Yeah.
I did have one last question, Dwayne and Robyn. What's your favorite wine?
Well, that's a tough one. We have from Barren Ridge Vineyards, which is our local vineyard here in Augusta County. I would say
Barren Ridge.
Red Baron is one. They have it's a blend, a varietal blend, and we have a great winery in Nelson County called Cardinal Point, and they make a hopped Chardonnay. They mix hops in their Chardonnay, and that's fantastic. And of course, the cidery has Virginia Apple, Virginia Draft, and they have a new one, which is an IPA, which is an Indian pressed apple. And so that is our new favorite because it also has some hops in it. So you get a little bit of both. And Blue Mountain has tons of different beers. Their Hopwork Orange is my personal favorite that they've been brewing lately. So we've got one at each place that we deemed our favorite.
Yes.
And we do a lot of research with our new sites to look at as far as who we pick to be partners with, and that's something we have. These venues that we use, we treat it as a partnership. It's as much their race as it is ours. Folks have embraced it. They ask about it. They come back because we really want it to be a win-win, both for the event host and us as well as the small business owners, that everyone has a good experience.
Awesome. Well, Robyn,
we had a couple more questions come through.
We have a couple more questions from the audience.
If you like on the left side of the Q&A tab, we can
All right, let's take a quick look what people want to know. Hopefully we don't put you on the spot.
That's all right.
All right. Where are they?
take a look on the right side of the screen. Can you see the questions? So here's one. Were the wineries initially skeptical about the idea, or did they embrace it?
Were the wineries initially skeptical about this idea, or were they embracing it from the beginning?
Everyone that we've worked with have embraced it. I think the very first one we did, I think we overwhelmed them. They're used to doing tastings and explaining the wine, and then within 30 minutes, had 250 runners with a glass waiting for a tasting. So they had to sort of speed up their tastings, and we pared down the tasting so they don't taste a full flight. They get 2 reds and 2 whites. And the cool thing about the connection is we bring a different demographic. Most of our runners are women, We have large groups that come together. They bring picnics. They make it it's now become sort of a festival after the race, and they tell their friends and say, hey, meet us at the race. And whether it's husband and wife or just a group of teachers, we've had a lot of teachers that run our race at the end of the summer as a sort of celebrating the end of the year. And all of the wineries, after we've shown them what we do, because we do everything except pour wine. We handle all other course logistics, registration, cleanup. We book the bands, we buy the glasses, all of those things. So the winery basically has to do what they do well, and that's pour and talk about wine. So it's really a nice partnership that everyone that we've worked with has been very excited and picked up new business. And that was part of the concept as well, as introducing folks that haven't been to their vineyard before, haven't been to the cidery, who would come for a 5K or a trail run and say, ooh, wow, this is a great place, I think I'll come back. And we've certainly witnessed that with our runners.
That's great. That's great. Fantastic. Well, Robyn, Dwayne, thank you so much for your time. It has been great. People that are watching, please make sure to go to corkscrewracing.com. Check them out. Really amazing idea here of some really fun, different racing with some wine and now potentially beer coming soon. Maybe some shots in the near future as well. But it's a fantastic idea to run with the sun setting as opposed to with the sun rising. So really romantic too, I would say. Well, thank you so much again, Dwayne and Robyn, owners of Corkscrew Racing. This has been Ask an Event Pro, and I'm Francisco, product evangelist at Events.com. Thank you for watching.
Thanks.
Thank you.